Hey guys, today's video was inspired by the suggestion of iArrow, and he wanted to see the top 10 reasons why players quit RuneScape. I asked around and I was able to come up with quite an accurate list, I think. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Number 10, your membership status running out. There are some players who simply can't pay for membership. They either use their phone, bank account, or sometimes their parents if they're too young to pay for it themselves. Unfortunately, when your membership status runs out, the only way to reclaim it when you can't pay for it with real money is paying for it with in-game money, which can be hard if you're not that rich of a player. To make matters worse, ever since membership bonds came out in old school RuneScape, their prices have been skyrocketing well over 2 mil, and you never really know what their prices are going to do next. And for some players, grinding in free-to-play to get 2.7 mil just isn't an option, because some players don't have that kind of time. Number 9, tying into what I said near the end of number 10, is time. To get anywhere in RuneScape, you have to spend a lot of time on this game, which I think is why some players take it so seriously. Anything worth doing in RuneScape is going to take a lot of time, and some people just don't have the kind of time that is needed to be put into this game, especially when you might have to sit on a laptop for hours on end or at a computer desk. There's always real-world distractions, and when you're distracted in RuneScape because of real life, you literally will never get anything done on RuneScape. For some players, simply put, they just don't have enough time to play the game. Number 8, some players prefer other games over RuneScape. RuneScape is one of those games where you almost have to have been playing since you were a child to really understand its appeal, and with new games always coming out constantly with amazing graphics and multiplayer features that are very different than RuneScape's, it's easy to sort of forget about RuneScape. In my opinion, I have never had any other game take over my life as much as RuneScape has, but even I'm guilty sometimes of just simply gaining more interest in other games for a while, but I do always end up coming back to RuneScape because it's one of the first video games I ever played as a kid. Number 7, bad updates. Throughout the history of RuneScape, there's been a lot of great and wonderful updates, but in some players' blunt opinions, there has been more bad updates to RuneScape than good. This is not my opinion, of course, otherwise I wouldn't be playing right now, but the updates do factor a lot into which players stay and which players leave. When the Grand Exchange first came out in old school RuneScape, a lot of players loved the idea of it arriving, but some players left because they liked the trading interaction they had between other players and themselves. And then there's players like me who really didn't want the Grand Exchange, but I can't deny that it is an extremely useful update regardless of whether or not I wanted it. And as time went on, I got used to it, and now I really like it. Number 6, getting scammed. Getting scammed is probably one of the worst feelings you can have as a player, especially if you lose something extremely valuable to you that you worked hard to achieve. There are some players out there that don't take this into consideration, even though they'd probably feel the same way if you scam them. There's sort of a shock factor that takes over you when you get scammed of something you really worked hard for, and that initial shock can sometimes make players just immediately press that logout button. But most of the time, they usually end up returning, and even though what happened to them was wrong, it probably was a learning experience. Number 5, getting banned or muted. One thing I really like about Jagex is that they take reporting very seriously. If they didn't, this game would probably be ruined. Sometimes players make bad decisions, and they either get banned or muted, or maybe even permanently banned or muted. And sometimes Jagex punishments are harsh, but then again, it's incredibly easy and takes no thought at all to avoid getting banned or muted. But some players out there never learn, and they keep getting banned and muted, and they wonder why. And they end up quitting altogether because of it. Number 4, growing up. As I said before, you almost had to have been playing this game since you were a kid to really understand its charm and appeal. However, the older you get, you're going to run into problems, and you're going to have to deal with adult priorities over video games. And I think that is what has happened a lot throughout RuneScape's history, and is probably the reason why not many players play today that did play years ago. When you grow up, life gets hard, and unfortunately gets way more serious, and that can sometimes make you lose interest in things that once made you happy as a kid. Number 3, dying and losing everything. A lot of players quit Deadman mode because of this, but it's to be expected on those servers. But sometimes even in the main servers, players will end up quitting when they die and lose something that they worked to get for months and months. It's just a part of RuneScape. Most of the time, those players end up returning, but nobody ever wants to die and lose their items, even when you're a low level. If you're going to play this game, you really have to be strategic about everything that you do. And sometimes when you're going into something really difficult, like bossing or PKing, you almost have to prepare yourself mentally that there is a possible chance you might die and lose your stuff. Number 2, staking addictions. So many of my own friends have actually quit this game and returned only to quit again because of the dueling arena. It's a real addiction that can get out of control if you let it, just like gambling your own money away in real life, and some people lose millions and millions before they ever walk away from that place. Staking can be a lot of fun, but only when you win, and sometimes luck has a lot to do with it, and you won't be so lucky. Whenever I go stake at the dueling arena, I am always prepared to lose what I'm staking. That way I won't end up quitting like a lot of players do when they go all in and end up losing every cent they have. Number 1. In some players' opinions, the community of RuneScape is just terrible, but that's how any online game community is if you really think about it. There's scammers, there's people that want to lure you, there's people all over YouTube who post phishing links to try to hack or steal your account, there's DDoSers everywhere on this game, and most of the time, the main thing I end up seeing on this game is that people just love to fight with each other and nobody really takes it into consideration that they're talking to an actual person behind a computer monitor instead of just a pixelated character that writes words above its head. Don't get me wrong, you're going to make some great friends on RuneScape, but you're also going to meet some of your worst enemies here too. And I think that some people just run into way too many enemies instead of friends. Thanks for watching, guys. What do you guys think that the main reason is that players end up quitting RuneScape? Post that in the comment section, and if you know what I should count down next, post that as well. That's all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you guys later.